That is a detriment.
You made it sound weird.
So
Can you tell us, Trevor, who came up with the idea to go to Waffle House?
Well, yeah, I was talking to Brandon, and I can't remember. It was Brandon Sheriff and someone else, maybe EJ. Hadn't ever been to Waffle House in their life. So that was like a week or two ago, and I was saying, we got to go one day after the game. And then last week I told him, I was like, once we win on Sunday, we're going to Waffle House. So Marissa actually called, and I talked to the Waffle House about like reserving part of it, and they were like, well, if you give us a heads up, we can kind of like clear some people out of one area and and have you guys some spots saved. So they did that, and it was great. We had like 20 guys there. Yeah. So maybe the first reservation at Waffle House.
So what's your go-to dish at Waffle House?
It depends. That night I got the Texas bacon cheesesteak with hash browns with cheese and a pecan waffle. So it depends. Yeah, I was. So sometimes I'll get the all-star, depends how I'm feeling.
Can you order the hash browns in the way that, with the proper, verbiage?
What is it? Smothered is cheese, is that correct? I just say cheese, but I probably should say that, yeah.
I hate to interrupt this Waffle House commercial, but
I know, right? It's a good
when you think about where the offensive line was in training camp, with the center spot, the right tackle spot, and the left guard spot, kind of all up in the air. Phil was just going to let them compete. Sheriff was going to be where he was. Cam was going to be where he was. Could you just talk about just the development and, quite frankly, the evolution of that group?
Yeah, I mean, just that group's they've been great all year. And you look at just the guys that have had to play, the amount of different guys, I mean, Ben was starting at guard for us the first, 5 games till he got hurt. And obviously Shatley's played a lot of ball, so it's not surprising to see how well he's played. But still, for him just to always – I mean, he's always impressed me how he prepares, and he's always ready whenever he's needed. And, he steps up, whether that's at center, at guard. Last year was center a lot, just whatever it is, he's prepared. And then you look at same thing with Cam, obviously was playing great until he got hurt, and then Walker has to step up and be the left tackle for the rest of the season, especially the type of season we're having, the most important part of the year, trying to make a playoff push, and just to see, how well he's played and just been ready. And then even Saturday just played lights out on the biggest, in the biggest game that we've had yet. So to see that, and then obviously Jawan, I mean, Jawan's had a great year. I've been really, really impressed, and just that's a guy I really love playing with. Just, he's about his business. Loves ball, sacrifices a lot for the guys around him. And, then obviously talk about Sheriff. And, I mean, I think he's, like I said, he's elevated everyone's play, I think, on our line. Just his attitude, his work ethic, just how tight that group is, I think really has a lot to do with just what Sheriff's been able to bring to the table since he's been here.
When you saw the tape, you saw the play that you initially weren't all that down with, but when you see how that play was, is that about as well executed a play in terms of the blocking, in terms of just?
We're talking about the fourth down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome to see. Just obviously the guys up front. I told them in the huddle, I'm like, this is, what was it, 4th and 4 inches? It was like that. I mean, it was that far. I told them, I was like, this is the one play for our season right here. We get this, we win the game. And that's what I told them in the huddle. And just to see them just mash the guys on the line of scrimmage, and then even Zay, if you see him, come down and crack the safety and seal it, and then Travis bounce it. Those runs can kind of hit anywhere, and Travis found the lane and just bounced it and got the edge. And, I mean, when guys do stuff like that, and just I knew we were going to get it when, everyone knew what was on the line, and I knew those guys were gonna come through.
You knew what obviously you're in the middle of the game and you had to make that turnaround that you said after the game. You had no choice but to do what you did in the second half. Looking back on it in film, are you any more kind of amazed that you and the team did what you did in the second half?
Not really. I mean, honestly, we made the plays that were there, and then a few, the plays you got to make to win games like that, especially when you're down a lot. And really, it was just a recipe of a bunch of different things in the first half that didn't go our way, and some bad plays by myself, and just some plays that obviously you want back. But a lot of things just were, and then you look at even the punt that hit us, like crazy stuff like that, just didn't quite go our way, and we just kept our head down and knew it was going to turn. Obviously, we had to do it quick, though, kind of run out of time at that point. But, it was good to get that drive before halftime to kind of get the spirits back, get the momentum back a little bit, and then just tell our defense, hey, you guys go get a stop. We're going to keep scoring. And I think we scored every drive in the second half, didn't punt again. So, that's huge, obviously. It gives us confidence, and you don't want to do that, but to be able to win a game like that is really, really special.
What exactly?
The 2-point conversion play?
Yeah, I did. I did. So it was a play where, I just saw the opportunity and figured that'd be a lot easier. No, I didn't feel like there was any risk of that. I knew I could get it in, so I just took it.
What did Doug say when you came?
Well, he didn't say. He was pumped. He didn't say. If you make the play, you're good. If that's one thing is it's kind of a no-no. But you got to make the play and make sure there's certain looks, where you got to be careful down there on the goal line. You saw in the Ravens-Bengals game where that look kind of got returned for a touchdown, and so you got to be smart. There's certain things you don't want to do it against, and obviously the ball is the most important thing. But I felt confident in it, and when you're out there playing and you feel something, the coaching staff has trusted me to make plays, and I'm accountable for all that.
What exactly is the status with the thumb?
Oh, I'm good.
How
Just-
exactly did it happen?
Just got stepped on. I got sacked that one time in the fourth quarter. I got stepped on.
They had a very
It's-
good replay of that.
it's fine, though.
The moment he
Stepped on your thumb.
Yeah, yeah, he got me. He got me right on the nail a little bit. So, but I'm good. It's all
They're
good.
like comparing it to Kurt Schilling, the bloody ankle. As well as the
Yeah,
bloody
no,
foot.
it's not that. It was bleeding super bad though. I had to get it wrapped, for that next player I was gonna have to come out.
What did playing in the noise here teach you about playing in noise? What kind of advantage did you have that you're not going to have in Kansas City, and how do you get ready for that?
Yeah, I think obviously the environment and the atmosphere we're going to play in is one of, if not the best in the NFL. I can't imagine it'll be much louder than our fans were here on Saturday, honestly, but that was when we were on defense, not offense. So we played there earlier in the year, but this is a little bit different. It's a playoff game, divisional round, so the stakes are higher, so I expect them to be even crazier, more packed stadium. But, at the end of the day, you gotta go play, and you gotta make sure you communicate. That's the one thing. We gotta get in and out of the huddle. We gotta get to the line of scrimmage so we have time to communicate, because everything naturally takes a little longer when it's loud.
Not everyone can do it. Obviously, not everyone can do it. Is that just something that you've always been able to handle, the noise, college, and whatever you've had in the pro, or is it
Yeah.
something that you work on the practice field? Or?
We work it. We have the speakers, pumping when we're on offense, when we're playing an away game, and you get used to it through college, and then now the last 2 years. So it's just something you learn to get used to, and you gotta win games on the road. So you can't let it be too much of an advantage for them. You gotta find ways to operate and to communicate and to be on the same page when it's really, really loud. And I think we've done a pretty good job this year on the road communicating well. So that'll be the key again, and just making sure we're all on the same page, going the same direction, and we'll be fine.
Mentally and emotionally, how are you different going into this meeting at Arrowhead versus where you were week 10?
Week 10 seems so long ago. I guess it was 10 weeks ago. So I think just, speaking of the team, I think we're in a really good spot. We have a lot of confidence, played a lot of football since then. We've won a lot of games since then. I think we've played much better in this stretch than we did earlier in the season. So I think there's been a lot of things. Same for the Chiefs, though. They've had a lot of games since then, and we all. We got the film is the film, and you kind of know what each team wants to do, and there's going to be wrinkles and all that, like there always is, and especially game planning for a big game. But it's just about execution, and I think that's the biggest thing it comes down to, and especially in the playoffs is. They might have a few wrinkles, but their scheme is their scheme, and it's about who's going to execute better, especially when you've already played the team once. So that's 2 weeks in a row where we're playing a team that we've already played in the season. So it'll be interesting to see, what the plan is, and I feel great about what we got in so far and excited.
What play do you remember most? What was the biggest takeaway when you left Arrowhead from that game? Do you remember, what was there a play? Was there a moment that kind of gnawed at you a little bit?
Really just the way we started the game. We obviously, we got the onside kick and kind of stole a possession in the beginning, and just didn't really make our possessions count the first quarter and a half, or all the way down to the last 2-minute drive in the first half. We just didn't really do anything with the ball. Our defense held in there, especially early, and gave us some possessions. And that's the one thing I think we left a lot on the table. And you can say that every game, especially when you don't win them. But I really just feel like we left a lot out there. And as the game went on, I thought we played better offensively, but when you're playing a team like them that has a great offense, a high-powered offense that can score a lot of points, and even if your defense is playing well, you got to score to beat guys like this. Just when you got especially a guy like Patrick over there. So, you're aware of that, and there's definitely some stuff we left out there, and excited to get another opportunity. It's going to be fun.
Patrick, Trevor, now that you've played in Patrick, you played in a playoff game. Did you learn something about how different it is, or how it is different, that you think will make a difference for you this week?
Yeah, I don't really. The difference is, you win and you keep going, you lose and you're done. So there's that sense of urgency of just, I don't want to say it this way, but just the desperation of doing everything you can to win the game, and you feel that on both sides of the ball. And it's that way in the regular season too, but it's just another level, just because everybody knows, this is, especially now we're in the divisional round, we're getting deeper and deeper in this thing. People know what's on the line, and guys just willing to do whatever it takes to win. And so there's that level of intensity, and you're going to get everybody's best shot, so you got to be prepared. And at the end of the day, it's the same game. You play it the same way. Just because it's the playoffs, you don't change what you do, but at the same time, we all know how big of a game it is for us and for Kansas City and everybody.
Not trying to jinx the guy throwing a no-hitter here, but how much pride do you take in 37-0 on never losing a Saturday game?
Take a lot of pride in it because we play on a Saturday again, so maybe, that would be, so, just, it is what it is. I don't really think about that. I think about we got to win this game to keep going, to keep playing, to keep our season alive. So that's what I think about. So trying to go 38-0 if you want to put it that way. But, about that streak or whatever, just honestly kind of a coincidence that, I've had Saturday games on all three levels. But, yeah, let's keep that going. That means we're playing again next week. So that's the plan.
Can you remember the last time you lost a game on a Saturday? What would have
I don't
been
know.
before high school?
Middle school? I guess middle school football, yeah.
Did they play on Saturdays?
Maybe we probably played a championship, but I think we won that. So maybe 30. Yeah, another one.
So it's probably longer than 37.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Okay.
I'm sure I've lost on a Saturday at some point, but
Considering the kind of game it was Saturday, was it tougher than a regular win to finally get past it and say, okay, now we gotta? Was it any more difficult?
Yeah, honestly, I would say not tough to. You mean just the emotions to kind of flip the page and start on getting ready for this week? Yes and no. The one thing that helped is we had a little bit of time. We're kind of obviously gears are shifting and we're moving on to the next week, but we didn't know who we were playing yet. So you kind of pause and take a second that day, and you rest, physically, but also emotionally and mentally. It took a lot to. It's just an emotional game. So you recover, you rest, you kind of get all that back, get your energy back, and then, Monday you can kind of fully dive in. Okay, now we know we're playing Kansas City. You can kind of start all that prep and get ready for the week. So that helped a little bit, but when it's an emotional game, that's what we talk about the guys. It's just like after the game, you don't even want to take your pads off because once you take them off, it's done. You're on to the next one. So you kind of just bask in that moment for a minute just because it is special. You got to enjoy them. That's a playoff win here, whatever, huge comeback, win by 1 point. It's a special moment. You got to enjoy it, but at the same time, we got another game coming in 7 more days. So, we took that night and enjoyed it and had some Waffle House and all that, but you got to move on pretty quick. So
We got time for two more, John.
Trevor, Doug has mentioned, before that playing against Kansas City's defense, they might not throw a lot of disguises and different things at you. They kind of do the same stuff, but they do it really well. Is that kind of how you see it?
Yeah, they're a really good defense. You look at them every year, and something we talk about. They're one of those teams where they get better as the year goes on, especially defensively. Like as the year goes on, they play a lot of different guys, so they're mixing up the personnel, all that, and then as the season gets going, especially games like this in the last stretch, they're playing at a really high level and they do a good job. So, they did some things that gave us some fits, when we played them last time. So we're gonna have to be prepared for all that. They do a good job of mixing up the looks, giving you different presentations. They just do a lot of different things. So, you got to be prepared for all that. And, obviously Chris Jones up front, talked about it last time we played him. He's a guy that can wreck a game. So you gotta control him. You gotta always know where he's at. Then, Frank Clark, if he's back, assuming so, had a week of rest, don't know there, but he's a guy that's really good off the edge, and they got other guys too. The linebackers are playing well, back end has been really, really good, sticky in coverage. They're good players, so got a lot of respect for their defense for sure.
Last one, Mark. I mean, with the wives, it was always jackets. Was that Marissa's design? Was that her plan? Was that...
No, I think it was Morgan Arnold's.
Okay.
I think so. I don't know if Morgan's listening. Shout out to Morgan. I don't know if that was her. I think it was hers. I know that she kind of, Marissa went over there and she helped make them, but it was Morgan. It was at Morgan's house, and she was the one that kind of got everything organized. So I think it was Morgan.
They
I don't
made
know.
them themselves? Or
I think so. Yeah.
that's even more impressive.
I was getting detailed. I
I
don't
know.
know. I think they did make them themselves.
So I thought, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Do you
moving
know
on.
if they were from Michael's or from Party City?
Good.
All right, thank
Moving
you.
on. Thanks, Trevor.